For the last few years, the SEC has been Georgia's personal kingdom. Kirby Smart has built a fortress of dominance in Athens, brick by brick, with five-star recruits and championship rings. But heading into 2025, for the first time in a while, it feels like the walls of that fortress are starting to show a few cracks. The conversation is changing, the whispers are getting louder, and while a lot of people will point to the usual suspects, the old powers of the conference, there is one team that has quietly put together the perfect mix of talent, coaching, and timing to do the unthinkable. Welcome back to No Smoke Sports, where we break down everything sports, from game previews to betting trends. Now let's get into the video. We're not just listing off the top-ranked teams. We're going to crack the code. We'll break down what it actually takes to knock a dynasty off its throne, from the dark horses to the old guard, and reveal the one team that has the clearest shot, the team that is in the best position to finally end Georgia's reign over the SEC. Number one, the Fortress, understanding Georgia's dominance. Before we talk about who can take down the king, you have to give the king his respect. Let's be perfectly clear, Georgia is still the team to beat. Kirby Smart has built a machine that is the absolute envy of college football. They don't just rebuild, they reload with a consistency that is, frankly, terrifying for the rest of the conference. The pipeline of top-tier talent just never seems to run dry. Even with key guys leaving for the NFL and the chaos of the transfer portal, this roster is still one of the deepest and most talented in the country. But their biggest advantage in 2025 might not even be the players on the field. It's where they get to play. Take a look at their schedule. The three biggest threats they have, Alabama, Texas, and Ole Miss, all have to come to Athens. They all have to walk into Sanford Stadium, a place where Georgia has lost exactly one game since 2017. That is a massive home field advantage. It's a gauntlet designed to protect the crown. So, with a roster stacked with talent and a schedule that makes every top challenger come to their house, you have to ask, how could they possibly be vulnerable? Where are the cracks in the armor? It's easy to look at this setup and just pencil them in for another title, but that's where you might be wrong, because even though that fortress looks impenetrable from the outside, there are a few teams gathering the firepower to tear it down. Number two, the dark horse from the Bayou, LSU. So let's start with a team that's always lurking, a program with a championship history that you can never, ever count out, the LSU Tigers. When you look at the preseason chatter, LSU is almost always ranked in the top tier of the SEC. They are firmly in that upper group, a team that absolutely has the potential to make a serious run in this new expanded playoff world. The hope for LSU, as it usually does, starts with the offense. This is a program that knows how to put points on the board, and they are once again loaded with explosive players. LSU fans have every reason to think their offense can hang with anyone in the country. Add to that a schedule that looks pretty manageable on paper, and you can see a path for them to be right in the mix. However, and this is the however that always separates the good teams from the champions, the questions around LSU are pretty big. The offense is reloading, which means they're counting on new starters and transfers to click almost right away. Chemistry isn't built overnight, and one or two early stumbles in the SEC can kill a season. The bigger worry is on defense. Can that unit make the jump from just okay to truly great? Can they get the huge stops in November that win championships? LSU has the offensive firepower to be a nightmare matchup for anyone. No question. But to take down a team like Georgia, you need more than just potential. You need to be the total package. And with lingering questions about how the new guys will gel and if the defense is really ready, they feel less like the definitive challenger and more like a very dangerous dark horse. Number three, the perennial power, Alabama. You just can't have a conversation about who runs the SEC without saying Alabama Crimson Tide. It's basically a rule of college football. Even with a new coach, the standard in Tuscaloosa is still the standard. And when you look at the 2025 season, Alabama is yet again right there as a major contender. The foundation of this Alabama team is what you'd expect: tough, physical, and loaded with talent. They're bringing back a defense that should be one of the best in the conference. They have an offensive line that is expected to be a real force, clearing the way for a powerful running game. And they've got a group of receivers that can give any secondary headaches. This is classic Alabama football, and it's why the computers still give them a real shot to win the conference. They have the talent, the depth, and the program DNA to beat any team on any given Saturday. But, and it's probably the biggest but in the entire country, there is a huge, glaring question mark at the most important position on the field. Who is going to be the quarterback? Replacing a leader like Jalen Milroe is a massive task. The guys competing for the job are talented, but they're unproven. Ty Simpson appears to be the leader for now, but the competition is expected to be fierce. That uncertainty is the main thing holding Alabama back from being the clear favorite to challenge Georgia. Think about it. To go into Athens and beat that Georgia team, you need elite play from your quarterback. You need a guy who can handle that insane environment and make the clutch plays in the biggest moments. Does Alabama have that guy? Maybe. But until we actually see it on the field, it's a giant unknown. Alabama has the body of a champion, but the question of who's going to be its heart is what keeps them a step behind the top contender. All right, we've covered the dark horse and the old guard. We are about to get to the number one team, the program that has the absolute best shot to end Georgia's reign. But before we reveal the top pick, if you're enjoying this deep dive into the SEC, do me a quick favor and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It just takes a second, and it makes a huge difference. Now, let's get to the team that has everyone talking. Number 4, the new blood with a vengeance, Texas. Now we get to the team that isn't just knocking on the door of the SEC elite. They look ready to kick the door clean off its hinges. The Texas Longhorns. In just their second year in the conference, Texas has become the consensus pick for the top challenger to Georgia's throne, and the reasons are pretty clear. You have to start with the defense because that's their trump card. In 2025, Texas might just have the single best defense in the entire SEC. They are bringing back a loaded veteran group, especially in the secondary, that is full of speed, experience, and guys who make plays. In today's college football, elite defense is what wins championships. It's how you slow down these high-flying offenses, and it's how you win those ugly slugfest games on the road. Texas has a championship-level defense. Then you look at the offense, and the conversation starts with one name, Arch Manning. Let's get the inexperienced thing out of the way. Yes, he hasn't played a ton, but looking at that as just a negative is a mistake. What it really means is massive untapped potential, and most importantly, he's not being asked to do it all himself. He is surrounded by an arsenal of elite talent. The Texas receiving corps is considered one of the best in the nation, and the running back duo of C.J. Baxter and Trey Wisner is both explosive and dependable. This isn't a young QB being thrown to the wolves. This is a future star being handed the keys to a sports car. And you don't have to take my word for it. Just look at the data. The analytics community is practically shouting from the rooftops about Texas. ESPN's Football Power Index, one of the most respected computer models out there, gives Texas the highest chance to win the SEC championship. Higher than Alabama's, higher even than Georgia's. When the objective data-driven models are saying the same thing you're seeing on the field, you have to pay attention. Some experts are already on record giving Texas the edge over Georgia for 2025. For all the fans out there who are tired of the Georgia Dynasty, for those who are ready for a new king in the nation's most powerful conference, the Texas Longhorns represent the single best hope for a shakeup. Section 5, the final verdict, cracking the code. So let's put it all together. You've got the LSU Tigers, a team with a high-powered offense and a friendly schedule, but with too many question marks on defense and a lot of new faces to work in. You've got the Alabama Crimson Tide, a team with the championship DNA and a roster built to win up front but held back by that huge uncertainty at quarterback. And then you have Texas. They have the most complete recipe to take down the giant. They have what is arguably the best defense in the conference, which is the perfect weapon to counter Georgia's physical style. They have explosive, game-changing talent at the skill positions on offense. And they have the ultimate wild card in Arch Manning, a quarterback with a legendary name and sky-high potential. While that trip to Athens is without a doubt the toughest test on their schedule, Texas has the fewest weaknesses and the most complete roster of any challenger. Their defensive identity gives them a chance to win the exact kind of gritty, low-scoring game that often decides championships. So, the verdict is in. The one team with the definitive edge to end Georgia's SEC reign in 2025 is the Texas Longhorns. Final conclusion. Georgia's grip on the SEC is facing its biggest test in years. The dynasty isn't dead, but it's definitely vulnerable. While Alabama and LSU are serious threats, it's Texas that has put together the most complete challenge. They have the defense, the offensive weapons, and the numbers backing them up to do what no one else has managed to do. But here's one last thing to think about. All this analysis, all these predictions, it's all on paper. The beautiful chaos of a college football season is what makes it great. While Texas might have the best team to get it done, they still have to walk into that madhouse in Athens between the hedges and face a Georgia team that has heard all this talk. They've heard the whispers about their time being up, and you can bet they'll be waiting. So what do you think? Am I right about Texas? Or is there another team like Ole Miss or Tennessee that I'm completely sleeping on? Let me know who you think is the biggest threat to Georgia down in the comments. I read every single one. And make sure you're subscribed, because in the next video, we're breaking down the most underrated players in the SEC heading into the 2025 season. You're not going to want to miss that.